Look, there's a lot of weird stuff about the Bob Lazar story. A lot of weird stuff about it. And the one that sticks in my mind, and I know this probably shouldn't because it's possible to do, is that it's been consistent. His story's been absolutely consistent since the late 1980s. Now, that's possible to develop a narrative, and if you're disciplined, and he's obviously very intelligent, you could just like craft the longest con the world has ever known and make no money from it and turn your life upside down and have the feds search your property, which they did.
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. If they thought that he really was in possession of element 115 and that there really is a stable version of this element that we discovered in a particle collider, or we accurately, they predicted it and then proved it to be real in a particle collider. But that wasn't until like the 2000s. When was it like when they, I want to say, was it like 2011 when they officially discovered particle 115 or element 115? But this element, he said, was stable wherever these beings are from, and they use it to propel their craft through a means of bypassing normal propulsion systems with some insanely sophisticated method where they can pick points in space and they essentially just instantaneously traverse these points in space.
I brought a photograph with me. Of course, I left it in the other room, but I'll bring it out at some point. And it was a guy named James Kibble. He's Australian. And it's about it's April 1966. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I did a segment on a landing case that happened at Westall in 1966, which is a suburb, Westall Primary School, which is a suburb of Melbourne. Shane Ryan did a film on it. I just covered a section of it in The Phenomenon. And during my time in Australia, I'd heard about this guy, James Kibble, that shot a Polaroid of a disc a couple of kilometers away 2 days prior to the landing at the school. A lot of times when you have sightings, mass sightings like that, they're in and around the area for several days. So it's very likely that those two are connected. My point is this. According to James Kibble, and he's in the film, he said the disc was kind of coming down like this over his garden, and he had his Polaroid camera he was going to take pictures of.
Were you doing the same wobbling kind of motion with your hand?
I'm just telling you what he told me, yeah. Okay. He said it was kind of wobbling down like a leaf, kind of. And then he was like, holy shit. And he grabbed his Polaroid camera, and he said he did it so quickly, he smashed it in his face, and he split his nose open, but he snapped one shot. And he said what it did is it went like this. Which
turned sideways.
The photograph that I have shows it sideways. And I'll show it to you. I scanned it from the original Polaroid. And then it shot off at an unbelievable rate of speed, according to him.
Exactly how Lazar describes how these things work.
That's exactly my point. And when I interviewed all the children, now adults, that watched this thing land at this Westall Primary School in 1966, they said the same thing. It was sitting on the ground. They got up to, I think, about 10 feet away from it, which is pretty remarkable. When you talk to witnesses, especially that many witnesses, I mean, there were roughly 300 kids. I didn't meet all 300 of them in the playground when this happened, and including the science teacher, this guy Greenwood, which I got him on camera for the first time in history in The Phenomenon. And they said it got off the ground, and then it went like this. It turned like this.
Turned sideways again.
And then it shot off at a high rate. It's in the movie. You can hear all the testimony.
It's the same thing.
Yes. And I got a photograph of it like this. I'll show it to you. And no sound. A slight humming or buzzing sound. This is 1966. So, and I'm going to get to this later. We can go back to moment of contact. But I'm going to make the argument that some, and I cannot emphasize how many times we need to underline the word some, UFOs, UAP, originate from a non-human intelligence. And I'll start off in 45, and I'll take us up to modern day.
Okay.
Just a handful of cases that I have personally investigated. I have personally met the witnesses, gone to their houses, dating back to 45, 47, 52, 57, 55, 60s, 64, like all these cases, okay? So basically what I'm going to do is we know that the vast majority of these cases can be explained in conventional terms. All this noise about Chinese balloons and weather balloons, and that's all noise. It's obfuscation and noise. Yeah, we know that all that stuff exists. But what about the core 5 or 10% of cases? And I'm going to give you some samples today that truly, after extensive and exhaustive investigation, not because of a lack of data, that defy a conventional explanation. And those are the cases that I'll share with you today when we're ready. But we can go back to moment of contact if you want.
Let's go right into it.
Oh, you want to go right into it?
I'm so excited.
All right,
You got me so pumped up.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Here it is.
Oh, you got it.
That's the
You
photo.
got it. That's the photo. I got a much better copy outside, but see the way it turns sideways? Now, let me tell you, if you ever see a photograph of a UFO, and I've talked to NASA analysis about this, and it has a clearly defined edge, it's probably a fake. They have something to do with it's blurred around the edges. They can't get a crisp photograph of a photograph. They think it has something to do with the propulsion, but again, that's not me saying this.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
If there's some sort of a field around it.
I have a much better copy outside, but yeah, this gives you an example.
You have a much better copy than this?
I do. I scanned it from the original. It's in my bag.
Go get the bag.
Should I go get it?
Go get the
All right,
bag.
I'll go get it right now. Sorry.
Get the bag, man. Oh, it's right there.
And-
Exciting.
Sorry about that.
Keep
I
that
thought I
up
left
on
it
the screen,
outside.
please, Jamie. Can I see the full how it's?
Okay, here it is. Look at this.
God, it's oddly centered.
This is
Perfect.
sent to me. This is sent to me by the guy who shot the Polaroid. Okay, there's his handwriting. This came from Australia. Boom. Here it is. Check it out. And see the way it's sideways like that?
Yeah. I'm gonna put on my old man glasses.
Yeah, I know, right? I got mine too. And we can get into my argument that I'm going to put forth as if I'm presenting a case to a jury.
See, my number one problem always with these things is that I want it to be true so bad that I worry that my rational, logical mind ignores all the possibilities of it being bullshit.
Don't look at any one particular case. What you have to do...
I mean, I'm looking at it like this photograph.
Does
That's pretty good.
That's the same one. It's the same photo.
So
Does that look like
you,
that, though?
you got to look at it like
Do it again.
yeah.
Feels
Yeah.
similar, bro.
I mean, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a bell. It's a school
Yeah.
bell. Time's up, bitches. That's what they're telling. That's what it
I
tells
know.
us.
So-
Time's up, humans.
What you can't base this stuff on any
Goddamn
one.
bell, James. He proved it. It's over.
You can't
Gig is
base
up. Jamie's on the case.
Hey, all I could say is that you talk to the witnesses.
I think if you picked it up, there's a hamburger underneath it. That's what I think. It's like a fancy restaurant hamburger.
Here's your
Monsieur,
meal, sir. Monsieur, it is waffle
Fries.
thin.
you know the kind where they don't put the bun together. You got to do it together yourself.
But
The burger's just sitting there.
But you can't. You look at the preponderance of eyewitness testimony from around the world, right? You don't
Yeah.
look at any one particular case.